Savvy Petting with Cheri Hardman. Today's guest is Anthony Schuman. Hey, Anthony, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Who's this guy?
This is Walter.
And
He's
what kind of
a
dog?
Shih
Well,
Tzu.
a Shih Tzu?
Or no, wait. It's a Dachshund mixed with ew something. He's a wiener poo. A wiener poo. That's what it is.
Oh, he's very cute. How old
Yeah.
is he?
About 2 years old.
Oh, tell me about the day you got him. Do you remember that?
This is one of those. The wife comes home and says, "Hey, there was somebody giving away free puppies at the front of Safeway, so we have a dog." And I'm not a small dog fan because they bark and they
They do bark.
yap and they pee in the house.
Oh, but they're cute.
They are cute.
All right. Does he have any like any weird quirks, or does he know any tricks, or?
Walter doesn't know any tricks. I have another dog, Faith, who was actually my service dog for about 3 years after I got out of the military, after I got out of the Army. I had
Mhm.
PTSD and was able to train her up as a, she was my dog before, and we were kind of training her to do pet therapy at the hospitals, like to see other
Mhm.
people. So we were very able to like transfer those skills over to training her to be a service dog for me.
Right.
So all through college, I had her as a service dog. She went to every like class with me, all sorts of like, I went to Evergreen, so all sorts of field trips, you know,
Right.
biology things, and she was there for all of it. She's getting old now and like creaky and climbing upstairs. She's
Um,
11, so
what
she
kind of
doesn't
dog
do
is
that
she?
anymore. She's a Lab Australian Shepherd mix,
Oh.
very smart, like
Hmm.
literally the type, saved my life for quite a while. Haven't
Hmm.
been able to have her and be able to reacclimate to everything with having some support.
Right. Now you told me you have some other pets too. So why don't you give us? Oh, there's a kitty cat.
So yeah, I got Cat,
Looks
another
kind of
pet
like a
that,
big chubby cat, is
yeah,
it?
he's a big boy. He's about 20 pounds.
Yeah. I've got a big one like that too.
Does not fit on his cat tree,
How old is
but
he?
he's, I don't know. I think he's probably about 3. We got him from the Humane Society. One of those, we looked through all the cages and like none of the cats really kind of stuck out.
Hmm.
We went back in the cat room one more time, and there was one little cage on the bottom that we didn't look in, and I opened it up and he just jumped in my arms, and I'm the one that didn't want a cat, and then he's all over me, and then I'm like, okay. And so now he's basically my cat. He's
Oh.
all over me all day, every day, follows me around the backyard, does not leave my side.
Oh. And then you have
Then we have
pigs.
pigs. Yeah. So my wife has always wanted pigs, and we used to keep them inside for quite a while. Unfortunately, with 2 of them, it got to be very difficult. We actually had 3 at a time. We rescued another pig and were able to take care of it until he had unfortunately passed. Um, but they're both like pet pigs. So they're
Oh.
coon mixes, and they're about 150 to 200 pounds a piece, and
Wow.
that's about mini pig size when they're full grown. They're very smart. They can do sit, come, stay. Um, they know like kiss and a couple other things, but
Uh-huh.
it's also very difficult because they like to break out, um, get into stuff. They smell food, they're going to try to go for it. So it's always difficult containing them as well.
Well, sometimes the smarter the animal, the more problems because they figure
You
stuff
got to keep them
out.
entertained.
Yeah, yeah. And then you
Yeah,
have a tarantula too.
I do. I got a little pink toad tarantula last year for Father's Day, and I did a planted tank, 10-gallon tank, and so it's a cool little keeping thing. Like it's not really a pet. I don't take him out and handle him like some people do. I just kind of leave him to his own devices and just watch him. But it was really cool kind of getting a tank set up, and it's starting to spin web, which means it's happy, which means I've done a good job like creating a
Oh,
good environment for it.
wow.
And then it's also a good teaching tool for kids. I have kids that are in elementary school, and being able to like teach them about habitat and environment, food source, and then using that as a tool to also facilitate it really helps. Ow, are you biting me?
But you're delicious. Well, so if your pets had to or could write a review of you as an owner, what would they say?
Number one, not enough playing, not enough frisbee, not enough attention. I think that every one of our animals is very affection driven. So there's always a struggle for attention in the household,
Mhm.
from the entire way down. So you come home, you know, my oldest dog Faith is always first in line, and there's like that hierarchy of order. Like they let her get in the pets first, then the next oldest dog kind of gets some love, and they just kind of go through that hierarchy of themselves. But I definitely think they would be like, there's not enough attention,
Yeah.
even with kids and everybody else going around. That's all they ever want is attention.
Mm-hmm.
um, Most of my dogs aren't even very treat motivated, so it can be even hard to train sometimes, but because all they want is attention. We have a golden retriever, and golden retriever is like basically bred to just want affection, and that's all he wants. He just wants to lay with kids on the floor. He just wants to cuddle. He doesn't get enough of it. I also think definitely, can you please feed me more times per day would be on there.
Right.
More bread, please, because they definitely like to get loaves of bread. Um, and yeah, that's probably their main gripes about me. Um, I'm sure.
All right, so let's switch and let's start talking about heavy petting of the human variety, which I always have to stop and explain that because young people maybe have never heard the term heavy petting as I mean it. So back in the day, heavy petting meant making out, maybe going to second or third base. So, but I'm going to say any stories that have to do with dating or love or sex or anything, if you have a good one, could you share it with us?
Yeah, so I had trouble thinking of this because as a dater, especially in like high school dating, I was such a guy that could not make a move. Like I had so many like girlfriends that fizzled out because I never like held a hand or put my arm around them. And then at the same time, like I was over the top romantic. Like
Mm-hmm.
I thought like, oh, if I'm going to take a girl out, let's have a surprise picnic in the park where everything's already set up and blah, 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 blah. But then at the same time, I'm too afraid to like hold that girl's hand during all of that.
Right.
So it took me so long to just get over like my mental like
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem to like make a move, because I always just assumed like no girl just wants to touch me, and when they do, they will approach me
Mm.
like physically, and that's not the world we live in. And so like you have to like sometimes put yourself out there and obviously be respectful. That's another side of it. You don't want to be whipping your dick out and jerking off into plants. You want to be respectful. And it was always like that fine line of like, am I disrespecting somebody or not? And then I would just get so wrapped up in my head that I would never make a move. So I think like my first 3 girlfriends probably just were just like waiting. Like I had girls invite me over to take a nap at their house and never got the picture. Like, hey, my parents are gone. You want to come take a nap with me at my house this afternoon? Sure. Went over there and went to sleep. I thought that's what was going on. I did not get subtle hints.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a problem.
So it took me about senior year of high school. I started getting out of my shell. It was really like senior prom that I finally kind of came out of my shell. And then, yeah, but I think my first time making out with a girl in a car, we got caught by the police. Like we were in a park, you know, just start making out. And then this is the first time you're like, okay, I'm finally going for it. We're making some moves. And the police show up. And it's like the story of my life. Every time I try to do something a little bit shady, I immediately get in trouble. Like I went all through like high school and stuff. Like I wouldn't even try marijuana because I was like, I'm going to be the kid that gets in trouble tomorrow. Like, you don't
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm that unlucky. Like, and it happened. The first time I was making out with a girl in a car, boom, police, lights, flashlight in the window. What are you guys doing here? And then I was terrified again for like another 4 to 6 weeks. Luckily, at that point, the hormones were so raging that I was able to get through any of my mental blocks. Once I had a taste, then it was kind of over.
Wow. That's funny because I just did another episode with someone right before you, they also got interrupted by the police. So, hmm.
It's funny. I've been married for 10 years now, so like the dating stories are so far in the past that it's
Uh-huh.
like just like yeah. I mean, the last like makeout story I have that was probably interesting is just that like one of my kids was made at a drive-in theater, and then I know that, and that's that's about it.
Do you
You
torture
know,
your kids with those kind of stories?
not yet. They're not quite old enough yet.
See, I like to do that kind of stuff every now and then. Just slip in something that makes them go, oh, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely. They don't know yet. Like I've
Yeah,
definitely. We've gone to the drive-in. I'm like, oh, this is where Maddie was created, and they don't understand what that
right.
means yet, but they will one
Yeah.
day.
Uh, so, uh, so what's the best compliment anyone's ever given your naked body?
Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about my naked body because that's a different subject.
Okay.
I am wholeheartedly into naked comedy. I'm
Okay.
the type of guy that would just pop out naked at a party.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I will say that I was very respectful. I never touched another person while I was nude, man or woman, because I don't like being naked and touching people, and so that's just my personal thing. But I was always the guy that just like if there was a chance to get naked and it to be funny, I was that guy. In fact, a picture popped up on my Facebook like memories today that I'm naked and at a party that somebody took a picture. So that's about it. I don't think I've ever had somebody compliment my naked body.
Really?
Period.
A lot of people say that. See, this is sad. Nobody's ever just said, "Oh, you feel warm or you smell good or you're
I've
soft."
got smell good. Like I've had compliments while I was clothed, you know, like you have nice arms or, you know, things like that, but never like naked has somebody been like, oh man, you just have the most amazing this. And, you know, so
I
I
gotta
don't think men get enough compliments in general.
I think that's true. The women struggle with that one too, though. I don't know. Maybe I need to start adding another question after that one because I hate leaving it on a downer like that. Because I'm sure there is something about you naked that's spectacular.
I'll tell you the favorite compliment I've ever got
Okay.
is literally the first time I did a roast and had somebody do roast jokes that meant that they listened to my set and that they took in what I talked about during my set,
Uh-huh.
and maybe they had seen me twice, but their roast jokes were obviously they were roasting me, but that they were of topics that meant that they saw my sets, listened to my sets, and heard my sets. So I very much took it very complimentary. That was Calvin Eggleston was the one that we were roasting him, and then he fired the roast jokes back, and it really felt good as a like I felt like a compliment as a comedian, you know,
Mm-hmm.
rather than the getting off stage, oh you had a good set, having somebody kind of roast jokes that actually were about me and pertain to me instead of just like, oh you're a white guy, you must be a pedophile because you're an older white guy, you know,
Yeah.
really that meant something to me because it
Mm-hmm.
meant that other comedians were watching me and listening and that I
Right.
was actually becoming something at this.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. I remember the first time someone came up to me after a show, and when I was very first starting out, and said taco meat to me when they saw me on the street and went taco meat, and then it was like that's
Yeah,
one of my
one of your
jokes,
tags.
you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, like somebody's listening to me. And what's even better, and this will happen for you someday, if it hasn't already, when a national headliner specifically compliments one of your jokes
Yeah,
and like says it back to you, like I love, you know, I was like, that is the best. That's really like it's just nice to be listened to and have someone pay attention to you, isn't
it
it?
really is. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's part of why I enjoy comedy. I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid that wasn't listened to, that was marginalized, that
Mm-hmm.
was in the
Mm-hmm.
background. And to be able to, you know, my favorite sets don't always have to be where everybody's laughing, but when I can hear that the whole audience is listening
Mm-hmm.
and not like distracted and that I have their attention, whether I have them laughing or I'm just explaining something to them, that's powerful. And that makes me feel, you know, powerful in that moment, but also that now my voice has weight. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
I want to joke about something, now I got to also think about the taste of my joke you know, and but then also like the content, right? You know, I think we can joke about anything on stage, but we also still need to think about the taste of the joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way to make jokes about anything and it be tasteful and still work. And you can see every great comedian, you know, maybe they can't make all their jokes work, but if you put them all together, there are ways to make jokes work about everything that can be still tasteful
Mm-hmm.
and moving too. You know, Dave
Right.
Chappelle's special, you know, that's a moving special along with the jokes.
Mm-hmm. All right. So do you have any, like, if people want to find you, how can they find you?
I'm at Anthony Schuman on everything, pretty much Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm really looking forward to get back out there. I had just kind of completed my first year of doing comedy and was starting to hit that, you know, stride of like people were starting
Yeah.
to ask me to do guest spots. I wasn't asking to do them. And
Mm-hmm.
people were starting to ask me to be on shows. I had shows scheduled out to like November of different little showcases and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And it was really feeling good. And then it all shut down.
I
And
know.
it's
I
been
know.
really difficult because the comedy in general pulled me out of a big rut.
All
And
right. And when you find that thing that makes you feel really good and then they take the rug out from under you, a lot of us have been struggling. So
yeah, I know I think, you know, most comedians, their way they deal with stress is comedy. You know, that's how a lot of great comedians become great comedians, because they've joked their whole life. And I'm one of those people, I deal with stress with comedy. Like my wife was hurting with pregnancy yesterday, and I'm making jokes the whole time trying to help her move, also making her laugh, but also probably making her hurt a little bit worse because I'm dealing with the stress by making a joke. And then I have to be like, sorry, I'm dealing with stress by making a joke. But it's just like, that's how we deal with stress. And it becomes difficult even when like all this political climate's going on, because I can't just like blast as many funny things out on Facebook, because some things are getting
you got to be
misconstrued, and
really
it's
careful
not
right
taken as a joke, as me getting up on stage and saying the same thing, where it's really taken as a joke. It's not necessarily taken as a joke in writing.
now. Great. Well, gosh, thank you so much for being on. It was great having you. You're a lot of fun. Congratulations and good luck on the baby. And
Thank you.
I will see you around hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you're pretty much stuck too. So
Yeah.
I'm probably stuck until phase 3 or 4 as well. So
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again.
you too. Have a good day, Cheri.
You too.
What's on her mind? She's a big, big girl in a skinny woman's world. Now she's a big, big girl in a skinny woman's world. Now she's a big, big girl.